If you take a step back and survey the wreckage of the bizarre extreme weather just this year, it's nearly impossible to avoid the conclusion that the planet is screaming out an obvious message. Climate change is here. The wolf is at the door.
We just put the disastrous year of 2011 to bed, and now here we stand amidst rubble.
But not the kind we're used to seeing in January.
Alabama was the hardest hit.
I don't know how you start over from this.
This is a January for the history books. 2,890 daily high temperature records broken or tied.
Massive outbreak of powerful tornadoes from the Gulf to the Great Lakes.
2nd of March. This is something that we don't even see late April or early May.
We're now at 108 reported tornadoes from this system alone.
40 Americans are now dead.
We turn to Hawaii now as record-breaking storms sweep across the island chain.
Tornadoes as far north as Michigan in the month of March.
We have never seen anything like this.
There's sledding in Arizona.
Another day of record-breaking temperatures.
4th day in a row, Chicago makes it to 80, the warmest St. Patrick's Day on record. 18 reported tornadoes overnight. Oh my God. From Oklahoma to Nebraska and South Dakota. Fueled in part by this bizarre heat wave.
And it's just unprecedented in my experience.
Extreme weather blew March 2012 into the record books. Our unusually warm weather created conditions favorable for twisters.
The single hottest March on record. Every dot another record shattered.
223 twisters reported in March alone, a month which typically sees 80.
Tornadoes sweep across Dallas-Fort Worth, tossing trucks into the air and raising the question, what is going on with our weather?
Guys, it's throwing 18-wheelers.
Trailers and sparks flying.
Right now we have a climate on steroids.
This year, with no snowpack, the earth dried out and became fuel for any fire.
It may only be the second full week of April, but fire season has arrived months ahead of time.
More than 1,000 fires from coast to coast.
From New Hampshire to Florida, tens of thousands of acres ablaze.
148 tornadoes in 72 hours.
Saturday, a day of terror.
It wiped out the town of Thurman, Iowa, and kept repeatedly doubling back on Oklahoma, Kansas, and Nebraska.
Across the West, fires are being driven by a triple punch of drought, winds, and hot temperatures.
But none bigger than the fire that's now covered hundreds of square miles across New Mexico. Today, it became the largest wildfire in that state's history.
The record rain in the southeast, a deluge across the Florida Panhandle.
With up to 20 inches so far.
It's right outside Fort Collins, Colorado, and it's already destroyed at least 191 homes. That blaze now the largest and most expensive in Colorado history.
We're watching the deluge in Duluth, Minnesota.
Causing flooding like this city has never seen.
We're rivaling some of the warmest temperatures on the planet.
Blistering heat shatters records and scorches Colorado.
Colorado Springs, a raging inferno devouring home after home. 1,000 firefighters overwhelmed. What they call a firestorm of epic proportions.
The earliest we have ever seen a fourth named storm.
Debbie swamps Florida with 30 inches of rain.
Tonight, deadly aim, the line of storms 800 miles long from Indiana all the way to the East Coast. Tonight, more than a dozen dead, millions without power, homes destroyed. What kind of system was this? A fierce line of raging winds that ripped across nearly half of the country in the dark of night, the death toll rising today, a path nearly 800 miles long. More than 3,100 heat records broken in the last month alone. We've never had a birthday as hot as this one. We are shattering records everywhere tonight.
From Montana to New Mexico, record-setting wildfires.
Burning hotter than anything we've seen in historic times.
3,000 plus records have been broken this week alone. Almost 25,000 record high temperatures since we started the year.
This is the hottest 6 months in U.S. history.
We are living in one of the worst droughts of the past 100 years.
Hasn't seen a decent rain since April 14th.
Towering wall of dirt and dust that covered Phoenix like a blanket.
Almost every state now has some level of drought.
They're bordering on disaster, complete disaster.
July 2012 was the hottest month ever.
The hottest summer on record is crippling the mighty Mississippi.
Traffic has come to a halt because the water level is too shallow.
We're on the scene of the fires burning outside Oklahoma City tonight. Dozens of homes burning to the ground, a daycare center gone.
Throughout the Midwest, inland lakes with 80-degree-plus temperatures are causing massive fish kills.
An alarming new consequence of this year's extreme weather, a deadly outbreak of the West Nile virus.
60 blazes raging out west.
Across Utah, Oregon, and Northern California this week as well.
The cost to fight fires this season alone, more than $1 billion.
People along the Gulf Coast have been assaulted by the remnants of Isaac.
20 inches of rain in some places yesterday alone.
The total bill for Isaac could top $2 billion.
Bracing for the superstorm. 60 million Americans on alert.
The largest tropical storm ever recorded in the Atlantic.
It is chaos along the Jersey Shore. In the crosshairs, Atlantic City. This city is basically underwater.
The East Coast is being pummeled with the power of a record-breaking superstorm.
14 states with cities and towns underwater, and in places the water is 8 feet deep.
Rushing over the edge of lower Manhattan.
Parts of New York became New Orleans and went below sea level, and in what seemed like seconds, 13 feet of water poured into the city.
Near hurricane-force winds turbocharged the effect, making streets nearly impassable.
The force too much for the city's power grid. The subway system that carries 5 million people is flooded.
The Garden State woke up to a devastated landscape. Entire communities swamped, houses ripped from their foundations. The beach erosion caused by the relentless surf so profound, it rearranged the Jersey Shore.
8 million people in 18 states in the cold and dark tonight.
Losses have topped $71 billion.
There is an extreme weather tax now. It's going to be billions and billions of dollars.
Carbon emissions are trapping extra energy in our atmosphere, and with extra energy come more extremes. Higher sea levels, drier droughts, hotter heat waves, and heavier storms. For us to have even a shot at saving the lives of future heatwave victims and storm fatalities, the livelihoods of drought-stricken farmers, and on, we have to wake up as a society to the peril we now already face in this dawning disaster era.